on the Newman Jets Audio Network. This is the Jetcast, the official podcast of Newman University Athletics, featuring exclusive interviews with coaches, players, administrators, and more. The Jetcast podcast is brought to you by South Central Ceiling and Paving, online at SCSEALING.com. Mel Hambledon Ford, Pepsi, Allstate Insurance Agent Mike Light, Eck Agency, Donlinger Construction, Big Corner Creative, Dr. Brennan Lucas and Advanced Orthopedic Associates, Keystone Solid Surfaces, and by Overland Charters, the official transportation provider of Newman University Athletics. Here's the voice of the Newman Jets, Blake Krebs.
The Newman women's basketball team returning to action last week, 21 days after their last contest in the first semester, was the longest semester break over the Christmas holiday in the history of the program. Didn't quite get it done in Tahlequah, losing to Northeastern State. The Jets are 2-6 in the MIAA, and they resume action with their normal Thursday, Saturday schedule. Coming up this week, hosting the Lincoln Blue Tigers on Thursday. Welcome back into the Jetcast. This is episode number 31, and we are pleased to be joined today by the assistant coach here of the women's basketball program, Clarissa Krum. First of all, Coach, hope you had a fantastic Christmas. I know that this year a little bit different probably than what you're accustomed to, but how was the Krum Christmas this year?
It was nice to have my family come and see me and not to have the stress of traveling. So I'm thankful that they had the opportunity to come to Wichita and bring my dog, which is now their dog. And so it was a nice break. It was a nice resting and just time to enjoy each other. So,
how much do you miss the dog? And you don't have the dog up here in Wichita? I know that would be tough to take care of with all the road trips.
Well, it's been 10 years now that Ellie's lived at home. So yes, I miss her and she misses me. But my parents do a great job of taking care of her.
Fair enough. Last time out for you guys, 60-46 loss on Saturday at Northeastern State. The final score, I don't think, is quite indicative of how close the game was. It was a 4-point game with 5 minutes left. You guys were anticipating to play on Thursday against Rogers State. Obviously, that didn't happen because of coronavirus protocols in the Hillcat program after playing Emporia State on Monday, and there's also coronavirus protocols now in the Lady Hornet program. Not looking for an excuse. I know you and Coach Spence aren't making excuses, but how concerned were you about having that long layoff? As I said, 21 days, that's not something that happens in the middle of the season most years.
Well, I don't even think we thought about it. I think that it wasn't brought to our attention until we read the article from Northeastern State Athletics, So for us, it was, what can we do to take care of ourselves every single day? And I think that's what our approach has been all the time, like how do we take care of today? Not playing has a factor, has a different element to it, but we had a scrimmage in there where we went and scrimmaged somebody and, we made sure that practices were competitive and we were working on things that we needed to work on. So, the element of not having the Rogers State game, you have to pivot in these times. Like, you have to be able to be mature enough and not get your feelings in the way of anything and just go out there and compete and just be thankful for the games that you do have.
You guys definitely did compete. It was a close game. Obviously, the last 5 minutes was a challenge for you. What do you think was the key for the Riverhawks as they were able to extend the lead and shut you guys down offensively over that last little 5-minute push they had?
Well, see, I don't think they shut us down offensively. I just think our girls didn't step up and make shots. We had a lot of wide open opportunities to knock down shots. I remember very vividly that if a pass is made to Brooke, she had a wide open three. Haley had a wide open three in the corner that would have cut the lead to 3. There are a lot of opportunities on our offensive end. Like, again, it's just stepping up and making the shot. And then, of course, you have to foul at the end of the game and give them free throws and things like that. So, I think that have we knocked down a few of those shots and really, had those momentum swings go for us and not give them a 10-point lead in the first 5 minutes of the game, things, obviously could be a lot different.
You guys did give them a 10-point lead, but you guys responded back with 10 straight points, so you tied it up. So obviously you guys are still battling back, are still fighting, and you guys have been so consistent this year in how well your defense has played. And, Coach Spence, it's a 180 from what, I think that his heart of hearts is, which is man-to-man, but he has really gotten this zone defense, and you have really helped him dial in this zone defense and made it extremely effective. What about the zone defense is helping you guys keep in games? What is making you guys so good at it, and how are the girls adjusting to this zone? And obviously, they've taken to it very well because it's kept you in almost all your games this year.
Well, I just think that, you have to, as a coach, adjust to who your players are and who you're playing against. And, I don't think their adjustment took long. It's about playing an area and things of that nature. And, Coach Spence has been coaching for a very long time.
He has
a lot of people, like resources to reach out to. I don't think I played any man in college when I was a player.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because you could ask my dad. I wasn't a good defender. But I think our girls, what keeps us in games is just being able to, you're just guarding an area, and all five of you are working as one. And I think if we clean up our closeouts and a little bit of other things, it'll just become even better. If you fully commit to playing those areas and just running around and closing out and causing chaos for the other team, it doesn't allow most teams to get into their rhythm of their offense unless we allow them to get comfortable. So you have that choice when you're going to play defense. You're not just guarding one man. You're actually like in just an area, and who comes in your area is who you have to guard at the moment. I think it takes I personally think it takes a lot of pressure off of you to stop just one person, but I think that we've done a good job, Coach Spence especially, of drilling those drills and just how we go over things in practice all the time. And so I'm glad that the girls, the ones that were here when we were doing man, have been able to make that change and adjustment. And then the ones that come in, it's something that they, it's not anything new to them, So just to keep building the last 2 years off of it. And even 3 years ago, we played some of it.
Yes, you did. That was the beginning.
Yeah, it was about 50-50 about playing that, and it just creates, like I said, it doesn't allow the other team to get into their rhythm. And so, yeah.
Why do you feel that is? Because you're not the only coach that has said that about, we wanted to give them a different look, and there are so many teams. It feels like teams are better in their man-to-man offense than their zone, and you're not the first coach that has told me that. Why do you feel like teams are typically better at any point in their season? And that's not true for every team in every situation, but it does seem like most teams prefer to run their man-to-man offense than their zone offense. Why do you think that is? Do you know why that is?
I don't think I know. I guess I could have an opinion on it.
I'm asking for your opinion.
My opinion would be that, when you're in an offense and man-to-man, you do A, B, C, D to get the end result, right? And so, but in a zone, your areas are being guarded differently, and how you attack that zone depends on your movement and your lack of movement. So if I'm standing in one area and I'm an easy closeout, I make it so much easier for that defense to guard me. Whereas in man, like, you might have a really good shooter coming off a stagger screen or false movement on the backside, and you don't have help side defense over there. Whereas all that false movement on the backside doesn't matter in a zone, because you're all loaded anyways, and only two people are responsible for that. While if something happens on this side, that you have things covered. So I guess that's my opinion of it.
Fair enough. Well, we value your opinion on this show, and we also value our other guests here on episode 31. We've got Sydney Nilles coming up next on the show, a freshman point guard from right here in Sedgwick County, just south of Wichita in Derby. And we've got not one but two wrestlers coming up to wrap up the show, so that's coming up here in a few minutes. Offensively, that has obviously been the struggle. Coach Spence and I have talked about it a lot. As you've said, and Bernie and I have gotten to watch most of the games this year, you guys have had open looks, and you guys have had some really good offensive performances by players in space and in other times this year, with Faith Mason-Vestal, obviously, first time in her career she's ever been above 10 points per game in average. I think she's done it 4 straight games. Brooke Haney has done it in all but one game with a couple of 19-point games, a career-high 20-point games. You guys have had players with great offensive individual performance this year. What do you guys need to do to kind of bring other people in and have a second person when Faith goes off and when Brooke goes off to help them along and kind of bring everybody else up offensively to score a few more points and take some pressure off of your defense?
I just think it's stepping up into the moment and making those shots. I don't think that it's about I think that there's a lot of open opportunities in games. What we run in our offense, there's a lot of opportunity for girls to step up and make shots that are open, and that people aren't guarding. And it's just about their mindset of actually going to do it and believing that they can do it and their confidence in doing it. And, that comes with what are you doing when you're away from practice? What are you doing on your own time? Things like that. It becomes more of if they want to be player led, that they have to do those type of things, and we address it. We talk about it often. And I think that they do truly want to. I think they want to see success. And now it's just about putting in the work and allowing that success to come. Not putting so much pressure on themselves in a game and allowing the pressure to create the abnormal tendencies or the abnormal, movements or their in and out shots or their to step up into the moment and just make things happen.
Faith Mason-Vestal has been outstanding the last few games, particularly on the offensive end. 15 points for her, 4 straight games of double figures. I did have it written down. And Coach Krum, if you're out on the road with the team, you see that in the drills when they split up into the half court, you're typically the one that will work with the post players. So that's obviously got to make you feel pretty good that she's starting to kind of get back to that level that we saw right at the end of her freshman year when she was really playing outstanding and had started to have a real good Heartland Conference tournament before, of course, the ACL injury. And I know that, she was frustrated, talking with her a couple weeks ago, but how rewarding is it for you personally to be able to help her develop, and also for her, because she's put in a lot of time and went through a lot of pain, as we found out last week on the show, to try to get back to where she is. And obviously right now she's a person that's put in a lot of effort off the court, and she's seeing the benefits right now.
Yeah, no, it's great to see that success from her. And even in the recruiting process, you knew it was in her that she was able to do that, to see that success as a freshman, but for her faith, her name's Faith, but for her faith in what she believes on the inside, for it to come out and for her to trust the process of, you have a struggle, in your sophomore year, you have a knee injury, to come back from it. I think the biggest blessing for her was actually probably the pandemic. Sure. For her to go home, to get that rest for her knee, for her body, and then start building up strength from there. I think that for her to see that success now, is good for us, but it's good for her and how she is mentally and all of that kind of stuff. So, we're proud of her. We're proud of her efforts. Of course, we're always going to ask for more.
Of course, why not?
Because she could be an all-conference player. She has that ability within her to do that kind of stuff. So she just has to keep giving and keep giving and keep giving, and then start grabbing teammates as she's giving alongside her to help get them better as well. And I think that's her next step in her journey as a junior here with us. So
one player that we're going to hear from here in just a couple of minutes is going to be Sydney Nilles, and I know from the moment that it was official that you guys had signed her as part of this class, Coach Spence, he kind of kept me in on the loop on this as the recruiting happened and said, man, we got a good one. Didn't tell me any names or break any NCAA rules. But he said, man, I'm excited about this player we got from right around here in the area. And Sydney Nilles was that player and has come in, and you guys have entrusted her with a lot as a freshman, leading the team. I don't know if there are a lot of freshmen in the MIAA that are leading their team in minutes minutes, but you guys have kind of put that on her plate. Also, your leader in assists and steals. What's it been like to get her on campus from right here in the AVCTL, Greater Wichita Athletic League, the two leagues that are right here in your backyard, and kind of watch her mature and develop, and already showing some leadership qualities as part of this team as just a freshman?
Well, it's been great. We've been recruiting her since she was like a sophomore in high school. And so to have her in our program, just the energy she brings, like her sense of calm. She's working through some freshman struggles, maybe a freshman wall right now, but she handles it very well. For her, she can't be perfect. She
Sure.
wants to be perfect. We've trusted her from day one. We've told her, and unfortunately Ashanti went down because it was those two that were going to be the point guards. But Riley and Amani have stepped up. But with Sydney, she's got a lot on her plate. And the more that she's with Coach Spence talking through things, the more as she continues to work on herself, her teammates trust her. And it's very obvious that they trust her, and they're looking for her to step up and just lead and be confident while she leads. And she's got the ability. She's going to be a very good player, a great player. She's going to leave her mark on this program. We're very excited for her, and she just but right now she's got to figure these things
Sure.
out, and she's doing a great job. She can't be so hard on herself. And so I just think for her, it's just every day taking small steps, and don't get so beat up on the final score or a record or anything like that, and just continue to be the leader that she can be for our program.
Well, another person who's been a leader for this program has been you, obviously, for this entire athletic department, the diversity and inclusion designee, and NU Student Life named you as one of its Martin Luther King Jr. Distinguished Service Award nominees for faculty and staff, and nobody more deserving. So obviously, congratulations on that, and also wanted to talk to you about the challenges in terms of working as part of that diversity and inclusion designee as part of this pandemic. How has that work been going, and has it been stunted at all by the fact that you guys have not been able to meet physically, or were you guys planning to kind of meet remotely, since it's all around the MIAA, obviously with teleconferencing? That's probably was a big part of the plan going in anyway.
Well, I really am not sure. On campus, what am I doing? Or
well, yeah, anything that you're doing on campus, anything. Well, I mean, how would you kind of characterize your role and how that's going as the designee this year as a new position?
The SAC's not on campus right now, and so for the last month or month and a half or whatever, there's been really nothing. I meet with our diversity and inclusion group on campus today. Right. So I just think it's just small steps. I don't think that it's anything really big right now with all the things that are going on with the pandemic. And so I just think it's a growing process. Yeah.
And that's fine. That things are not happening normally, and that is perfectly okay and an acceptable answer, especially right now. What we do know is going to happen, or what we hope is going to happen, is going to be basketball tomorrow against the Lincoln Blue Tigers coming in. A team that's 0-7, but has a player, Jackson, averaging 16 points per game, and a new player that's come in last week and threw up a double-double against Fort Hays State. Obviously, this is a team that you guys aren't going to overlook. What are your thoughts on the Blue Tigers and getting set for Lincoln and trying to turn things around here this week?
I just think that they have a new coach, and they have new energy into their program, and it's not somebody you can take lightly. They've played, Fort Hays to a 15-point game. They played Kearney pretty good. They're playing competitively in these games, and so for us, it's about taking care of us and our business today, tomorrow, leading up into this game, and just focusing in on things that we can do, executing our offense, taking care of opportunities that come our way in a game, not allowing the pressure of a game or any of that to create the the abnormalcies of being tight when you're going to shoot it. Go play free, go have fun, go play together, go compete, and be thankful for the opportunity to have a game on Thursday.
Clarissa Krum, assistant women's basketball coach, Newman University. Once again, the Blue Tigers are coming in. 5:30 doubleheader action at Fugate Gymnasium. You can hear the games on the Newman Jets audio network. We'll be joined by Sydney Nilles here in just a couple of minutes. Coach, good luck. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Sydney Nilles coming up next here on the Jetcast.
Fact is, every insurance company hopes you drive safely. But Allstate actually helps you drive safely with DriveWise. It lets you know when you go too fast and brake too hard, with feedback to help you drive safer, giving you the power to actually lower your cost. Unfortunately, you can't do anything about that. Now that you know the truth, are you in good hands?
Check out your Allstate agent here in Wichita, Mike Light, at 316-684-0121. Thank you to Donlinger Construction, proud supporter of Newman Athletics. The Jetcast is sponsored by Dr. Brendan Lucas with Advanced Orthopedics, the official orthopedic surgeon of Newman Athletics.
The women's basketball team returning to action on Thursday. Lincoln coming to town, also here in Wichita on Saturday, getting set for another homestand. Here on the Jetcast, we are talking with a freshman guard out of Derby, 5 points per game. She's leading the Jets in minutes, assists, and steals. Sydney Nilles, former Derby Panther, joining me. Sydney, great to have you on the show. Thanks so much.
Thank you for having me.
Well, an adjustment, of course, for every player when they come into the college game. You played right here in Sedgwick County, AVCTL. Fortunate enough to have a couple of Division I college teammates, and I'm sure you probably played against some D2 and D1 players as well in the AVCTL. What's the adjustment been like for you coming up to this level, to the MIAA?
Definitely, it's a big change, no matter what. If I even played with Division I or D2, but here it's no joke. It doesn't matter what level you are. So I think it's just a really good experience for me just to learn to play with these people and play against other really good girls.
One thing that I've noticed, and one thing that Bernie, my co-host up there on the audio, has noticed, is you always seem to have, whenever you're on the court, no matter how things are going, you're always cool and calm, whether or not something bad has happened or something good has happened. You're always kind of that, you're very even keel, which is not always an attribute that we can give to freshmen. What do you attribute that to for yourself?
I mean, I've always learned to do not go crazy under pressure. And I think learning from this experience and like having to take that role and understanding like, okay, I can't be like this. And I think it's just I just try to compose myself the best I can in good and in bad situations.
Well, speaking of bad situations, I think for a lot of young people, just getting to go to college is kind of, there's an exciting time, and you get to socialize with different people, and obviously that's been kind of taken away. What's that been like to kind of come into your career in this different kind of an era and time that we find ourselves in?
It's crazy. Just even from last year, coming into here, I knew things were going to be not the unknown and the unknown. So I'm just taking every day the best that I can and trying to improve every single day and to get better, and hopefully, things will come out the way they need to be. So.
We're talking with Sydney Nilles, freshman guard out of Derby on this Newman women's basketball team. And you had, several college opportunities. You were a multi-sport star at Derby, playing volleyball, played soccer as well as girls basketball. And for some reason, Panthers all seemed to be good in all those sports while you were there. That's weird. What was the decision like for you to stay here in Sedgwick County close to home and go to Newman? What were the kind of the deciding factors for you in that to stay here close to home, and how nice has that been to kind of be able to be around home? And obviously, I'm sure the family enjoys the short trip to come and see you play all these games.
For sure. Definitely the schooling here, and I knew that's kind of what I'm leaning towards. Definitely with being around the coaches, I felt like they wanted me and all. I don't know, they just made me feel welcomed, and I really enjoyed that. And the girls, and I love being close. I honestly do. It's nice to have my family come and see me once in a while, and hopefully when all this COVID stuff gets over, we'll have more fans come in because my family's from here. So
I was going to say, I think Coach Spence was hoping that there'd be some more Derby Panther fans. And hopefully next year there will be. We'll have all the Nilleses and all of the former Derby fans coming in. That would be fantastic. You guys have been tremendous defensively in pretty much every game. Maybe if I toss out Emporia State and one quarter against Fort Hays State, you guys have been awesome defensively this year. What do you feel like? You've been predominantly zone, which still at this point feels weird for me to say about a Darren Spence coach team because he's so man-to-man dominant in his career, but he's turned around and you guys have been extremely good in your zone. What do you feel like makes your zone defense so effective?
Definitely something that we have been working on is communication, and I think that's a huge factor in the zone defense no matter what, because you have to know where everyone is at point in time. So that's something we're still learning, and I think we have the players for it. We compete, and if we just compete, and it's going to come out in our way. Obviously,
the offense has been the struggle this year, and you guys have had players with great offensive performances. Faith had 15. Bailey, Brooke has had several really great offensive games this year for you guys. How do you guys feel like you need to turn things around? Obviously, putting that much pressure on your defense, it's hard to play that great a defense all the time. That you guys have been up to the challenge just about every game. What do you feel like the team needs to do to be a little bit more efficient offensively?
I think just not having pressure on yourself and not relying on someone to do something for you. And I think if we just stay competitive and know that we are good and that we have that's just our confidence is high, I think it's going to come around, and it should come around. And I know these girls will work hard for each other. So I'm excited, and I think it's just a growing thing for all of us. So I'm ready.
I know you are. I know Coach Spence is as well. You are in a unique role, I think, in terms of having not just leadership, but also being the point guard as a freshman. That's not something that freshmen typically come up and do. I certainly don't think it happens that much in this conference. Normally they're on the off guard. They don't have, that much ball handling, responsibilities. What does it make you feel like to have the trust from Coach Spence and Coach Krum that they're willing to kind of give you the keys to the program here for 4 years and let you drive as the point guard? I feel honored. That's a huge thing that I've always wanted. And I definitely I need to learn a lot more than, but I'm saying thank you to them because they're giving me that opportunity to prove myself, and I really appreciate that. Well, and you've been coached by a really great coach, Coach Carsack at Derby, and I know that you guys kind of won a state championship with Kennedy Brown, and probably thought you could have won a couple more. Probably were thinking last year you could have won one more if given the opportunity. And I know they got some really good girls down there this year. What's it like for you as an alum to know that, boy, she's going to hang it up after this year, moving to Kansas City? That's awful tough.
Oh, man, I was very shocked. And, I mean, she believes, that Faith has a plan for her, and I'm going to follow her anywhere she goes. So I think she's really honored this year just to have another nice group of girls coming in. And I think they're going to prove out for her, and I'm excited for her.
Well, don't watch out if she gets a job up there in Kansas City. That's going to be a tough for whatever league she lands in. Let's go ahead and get to your question chain question, and this is from Faith Mason Vestal. Okay. And she says, what's the biggest challenge you feel you have faced being a freshman point guard?
Oh, man. Just knowing when to step into that role and really and contribute to what I need to do. I'm trying. That's one thing that I'm working on, is not having that pressure on me and not worrying about being perfect and all this type of things. So I don't know. It's just been a learning experience, and I think the older and the more that I play, hopefully I can continue to grow and do what's best for the team. So.
I have a personal question for you. You are a huge multi-sport star because you were, I think you were the AVCTL MVP in volleyball and basketball, and you were a captain on the soccer team. So obviously a three-sport athlete. Which of the sports is your favorite? Is basketball your favorite, or is it volleyball or soccer?
Man, I would have to say I love each sport equally. And that's one thing that I've followed in. When I'm in that sport, I love that sport, and I put all my effort into that sport. So I don't know. I would say you can say all of them are my favorites. So.
Sure. There's nothing wrong with that answer. Yeah. How did you come up with your number? Because you were 1 in volleyball and basketball. You've continued that here at Newman, but 5 in soccer. What was the reason for that? Was there any story behind that?
No, not really. I think I was 5 my freshman year for basketball because someone took number 1. But soccer, the goalie's always 1. So I had to always go and find that other extra number.
Sure.
So.
Okay. So nothing like that. Also, there was an inside scoop on Twitter that was broken, and so I kind of wanted to get your take on this. I heard that Coach Spence might have hit the floor during practice. Can you confirm or deny that? And is the olding coach doing okay?
Oh, he's doing fine. Yes, that did happen, and he played it off pretty well. I have to give it to that. So
he did. He said on Twitter, you can follow him at Hoop Coach Spence on Twitter. He said he played it off pretty well. So nice job, Coach. Final question for you: the Blue Tigers coming in 0-7 on the year, but they do have 3 players on their roster who have averaged over 10 points per game. Had a top 5 rebounder in the MIAA on their roster last year, and a new player that's come in and has only played a couple of games, but just went for a double-double in a loss against Fort Hays State. So final question for you, your expectations for the Blue Tigers and getting set for them and trying to turn this thing around as we head into the second semester.
Definitely we can't underestimate them. No matter what the record is, I don't think you need to depend on how good they are by the record. We need to not have the mentality like it's, that team is good and that's what we need to do. And I think if we come in with that mindset, hopefully we will get things to get going. So
Sydney Nilles, women's basketball freshman point guard from Derby, and she will be leading the team out there. 5:30 for the tip-off against Lincoln on Thursday, back here on Saturday as well. You can listen to the games on the Newman Jets Audio Network and watch them on the MIAA Network. Sydney, best of luck. Thanks so much for the time.
Thank you so much.
We've got 2 wrestlers for you coming up as we wrap up the Jetcast right after this.
Hi, I'm Alex Stevenson with South Central Sealing and Paving. We specialize in parking lot maintenance. We do asphalt repair, crack seal, seal coat, slurry seal, concrete repair, striping. Heck, I'll do anything for money. My dignity can be bought. Do property management, trash pickup, snow removal. My kids gotta eat. And hey, if you need any carpet or anything like that, call my dad, Jeff Stevenson, at Harry Street Carpet. You tell him I look better than him on camera, he'll give you a 20% discount. We're South Central Sealing. Let us fill the cracks in your asphalt.
Wrapping up the Jetcast with a first. Never had 2 guests on at the same time. We're having a couple of wrestlers on. We'll see how this goes. Ivan Balavage and Jake Patch. Ivan, a junior from Scranton, Pennsylvania. He will be the one on the far side. And Jake Patch right here next to me, junior out of Andover. 2 wrestlers on this team getting set for the Jet Invite coming up on Sunday. Central Oklahoma is coming in as well for a 9 a.m. start. Guys, thanks so much for waking up and doing this. Appreciate your time.
Thank you for having us.
Well, obviously, last time out, opening up the season, didn't want to go 0-2, had a couple of close losses by 8 to Colorado Mesa and by 9 to Adams State. I guess I'll start with you, Ivan. What were your thoughts on the team performance and a couple of pretty close losses to open up the season?
As a team, we figured it out early that it was going to be a little difficult with some of our shapes. We haven't really gotten a lot of matches in. I mean, only in the room, but we all know each other. So competing with each other is definitely different than going out and competing against another team for sure. And especially getting that first couple, for individuals, getting those first 7-minute matches out of the way. That's definitely something you have to work around. So I think we're just had to get used to it. Get out there, get the jitters out, and that's it.
Jake, what were your thoughts on the opening weekend?
I agree with Ivan. I mean, for the most part, that's the first time any of us have wrestled an actual match since last March. And there's a lot of things that have been going on that we knew was going to make our season tough, but we still have been working. And I think that overall, it set a pretty good frame of the things that we need to work on, that we need to get back in the room and work on.
Both of you 0-2 with a couple of tight losses in your individual matches to Colorado Mesa and Adams State. Jake, starting with your matches, based on what you saw out of yourself on the mat in that opening weekend, I think that was up in Hayes, actually. Fort Hays State, I think, hosted this event. What are some of the things that you feel like you need to work on?
I missed quite a bit of time with the concussion, came back. I think a lot of it's my shape. My weight cut needs to be a lot better, and I think that's going to really play a big part into me going back into like this weekend with just my technique and everything. It'll all follow from just being in shape and a good weight cut.
Ivan, what about you?
Jake's pretty straightforward with that. I think my weight cut wasn't the greatest this first week. I mean, it's always hard getting down the first time. I think the shape and conditioning that comes with that, cutting weight bad, you're going to have some bad results. But overall, I think I just have to, with shape will come along with moving my hands, moving my feet, getting the shots that I need to get to, and finishing those shots. So that's what I'm going to focus on during this week.
Weight cut obviously is something that there's so many sports that don't necessarily worry about that, or at least it's not on the scale on a week-to-week basis like you guys are. Ivan, I'll let you go first. Do you think that let's ask it this way, how much more difficult was the weight cut this year, just given the fact that the timing of the season was off? There was so much time there in the summer when conditioning, weight training, in terms of how you guys normally do it, couldn't happen because of the pandemic. I'm sure there's still some things that you guys are doing differently this year because of coronavirus. So how much more difficult was it to come back after not having wrestled at all? Because normally you guys would be starting around November 1st is about when the season starts. So you guys could have had, several matches under your belt at this time normally, but a little bit longer of an extended period break over Dead Week coming up for the Christmas holiday, and you guys, were not allowed to be in, so we're working on your own. So getting back, we'll ask both of you the same question, but how much more difficult was that first cut this year because of all the extenuating circumstances?
It was pretty difficult. First semester, like you said, we usually start around November, so I'll be on a diet before November starts so I could get down. And even that first time getting down in November is hard, but then I have November, December to get used to the diet, get used to what I need to do right, as opposed to I started getting my diet down in January, and then that first weight cut is just going to be just a little bit harder. I mean, it's going to be harder for the little guys more than it is for the big guys, but I mean, it's still a pretty difficult cut.
Why is that so much more difficult for the little guys than the big guys, and from your perspective, Jake?
I'd say we don't lose as much weight in a practice as they do. Like, you come to a wrestling practice, you can see the big guys losing like 8 to 11 pounds of practice.
Yeah.
I'm lucky if I lose like 3.5.
Right.
And it's a lot harder. We don't have as much weight to lose. So I think that just makes it more tough.
How nice has it been, just from your perspective, though, Jake, to actually just get to wrestle? There was a point where we weren't 100% sure that wrestling was going to happen. Obviously, wrestling is probably the hardest sport to have any social distancing from. So a blessing, obviously, to have the opportunity. How fortunate do you feel to be able to get out there and compete at all this year?
I think we're very lucky to be able to even be competing right now, because I know at one point people had their doubts, like, oh, there's no way. But we really all were hoping that we were going to have our season, because we have a lot of big things planned.
How much do you feel like you needed it, Ivan, just to get out there and get some diversion from everything else going on?
It's great. If I had to sit in my dorm room and just be here 17 days with nothing to do before school actually started, I don't know what I would do. I mean, just a lot of playing Xbox and wasting time. But now I get to go out, go to practice, see some of my friends, and just be able to interact with people on a daily basis, which is great.
How has it been, working on wrestling here, coming back after the New Year holiday without having to go to class and kind of worry about the mental aspect of being a student athlete? How has that been?
I mean, I think it's great not having to worry about it. You wake up, get it early this morning. We got up, went to weights, and now we just get to relax all day before heading to practice. But I mean, it's gonna start getting back to the grind soon, and it's gonna be busy.
How do you handle that grind once it comes back, Jake?
Just a lot of time management. Just kind of got to focus on what your next thing ahead of you is. You just can't lose focus of what's important. That's just school and wrestling.
One of the things that you guys have had that you guys have built up with Coach Smith has been a pretty nice home mat advantage. You guys get really nice crowds here for your big events. The Jet Invite, Reese Wright Conklin, you've had his tournament here a few times, had the MIAA championships here a few years ago, and I'll always remember coming out last year at the very end of the year, had all the lights down, and the crowd was I think it was Fort Hays State that was there, and the crowd was nuts. That was a fantastic atmosphere with just the one light. If you haven't come out, once you're allowed to come to wrestling events, because this year, Coach Ealing behind the camera, right now people are not allowed in. It's pass list only, right? Yeah, so pass list only. But once they are selling tickets, you can come back out. You really need to do yourself a favor and come out, give it a chance one night at Fugate Gymnasium with all the lights down. It's an amazing atmosphere to watch college athletics, and you've really got to check it out. But Jake, how different has it been not having that home gym advantage, that home mat advantage with all the crazy fans and the student athletes and your fellow classmates out there to support you in what normally is a pretty electric atmosphere?
I mean, it's going to be pretty different. I mean, there's nothing like wrestling in front of a huge crowd. Everyone's loud and cheering for you. But I think the main part is we just got to stay focused on the wrestling. Can't let the outside factors get to you. It's just like the same match if there was a whole crowd there.
How do you make the adjustment?
I agree with Jake. I mean, the adjustment, for me, you see a couple friends or you see your family in the crowd, maybe it makes you nervous, get some of those nerves there. So for me, it's maybe a little easier because I don't have to worry about any of that. I just get to focus to the task at hand and wrestle my match.
Jet duels coming up on Sunday. Central Oklahoma is going to be coming in as well as part of that. What are you looking forward to most, and how much do you know about this guy you're going to be wrestling? First of all, obviously not all weight classes are filled in all programs. Do you know anything about your opponent from the Broncos?
I just know I wrestled him last year, and he was ranked last year, and I think I have the same opponent this year if he shows up. And I'm going to train just like I train for everybody else, and I'm going to go out there and I'm going to wrestle my match to the best of my abilities, and that's all I could ask for.
Well, what do you know about your scouting report from your possible Bronco opponent?
Well, I'm pretty sure I've heard from other people that it's a new recruit that's probably going to start for them.
Okay.
Pretty good kid. It should be a really good match, but I think if I do all the things that I need to change from last weekend, I should be all right.
We'll wrap up the Jetcast with this. Your guys' goals, obviously, this is something I've talked with Coach Smith about. Normally, the wrestling season is long, but you guys don't have, it's not like basketball where it's, 2 days every week. There's sometimes when, they may not have a wrestler in your weight class, so you won't get that opportunity to wrestle. Not all the weight classes are filled in every program. Most programs don't have all of their weight classes filled. This year, with the season being so compacted, every single match is really precious and a huge opportunity that you have to take advantage. So final question, 0-2 as a team, not that much left of the season, so I'll start with you. What are your goals personally and for the team the rest of the year, knowing that this year is so short and the opportunity is so fleeting?
Well, we spent quite a bit of time, at the start of the year, when we started meeting, doing mental training, we all had our goals, and my personal goal is being All-American this year. I know as a team, we're planning on taking a lot more guys to nationals than we did last year, and so I think we just kind of have to stay focused on that.
And what about you?
As a team, I think we have good. I think we're one of the special teams on campus and as a wrestling group, because I think a lot of us are really close as a family. So I think we all want to see each other succeed. My personal goal is to be an All-American, and I think everybody on the team's goal is to be an All-American or get to that stage at least and nationally qualify. So I think with all of us pushing each other, I think we could reach that goal.
Ivan Balavage, Jake Patch, two of the Newman wrestlers that are looking forward to competing at the Jet Invite coming up on Sunday as they host the University of Central Oklahoma Broncos. It'll be the MIAA opener for the Navy and Red coming up on Sunday, 9 a.m. Of course, you can follow along for the Newman at the Newman Jets Twitter account. You can follow Newman Wrestling on Twitter at Newman Wrestling. Guys, good luck on Sunday. Defend the home mat, okay?
Thank you.
That'll be it for this week's episode of the Jetcast. Back next week. So until then, Blake Cripps saying, Go Jets.